This is the anniversary podcast. Welcome everybody to the podcast. I am super excited for this one. It's been a year since we have started this. It was February 2024. We started our first podcast. Now it's February 2025. So if you've been joining us from day one, the first month, I want you to put it in the chat, put it in the comment box. You're the OG listeners, and I am beyond excited for this podcast because I have a very special person along with me. I think everybody knows him, but I am still going to do the formalities. Founder of LiveJam, been doing this ministry in schools, campuses, in the marketplace for more than 20 years. Recently, 2018, moved to the US, heading LiveJam Global right now. Recently taken over a ministry, amazing ministry called Campus Harvest, now working in colleges, schools, all across the US, different parts of the world, the Bahamas, and husband to Kalpana, father to 3 kids.
Yes, sir.
And it's been a joy and honor to see you grow in leadership as well as mentor so many young people, business people. So put your hands together. Let me present to you the one and only Bonny Andrews.
Welcome
to
man.
the building.
Happy to be here on the podcast. Congratulations to start off with 1 year.
Yes.
1 year. And happy to jump in on the anniversary podcast.
Yep.
Like I said, from here, we're going supersonic.
Yes.
Right on.
We're going
Right.
all the way up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, what brings you to India this time?
It is, of course, we have our teams out here, but this time I felt very much, burdened by the Lord.
Okay.
Because there is 4.7 billion young people under 30 in Asia.
Yeah.
So that headline is shocking. I mean, of course, I'm, we live on the state side right now, have a global vision, but we can never, go back. You can never forget from where you came.
Yep.
So that under 30, 4.7 billion under 30 in Asia has been an astounding figure. And I'm like, man, we just need to go back. So this was one of those pieces, and happy to be here with the team. Happy to be here in India. I tell people, born in the United States of Kerala. Represent. We live in the United States of America at this point, but we're global citizens. I mean, it doesn't matter where we are. We have a global heart.
I mean, one thing I love about you is you do not shy away from your roots. And, you put Trivandrum on the map, you put Kerala, India on the map.
Yes.
Because Indians are not known for confidence, especially out there, when you're surrounded by so many people, so many nationalities. We love to have our own Malayali corner and, have the Malayali association wherever we are and just be limited to that. But I've not seen that with you, right? So, you've straight up gone from Trivandrum to Delhi, all the way to New York, postcode 1.
Sure, yeah.
I want you to tell a bit of that story as well, like your story from Trivandrum to Delhi, like especially the transitions.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot of faith.
Absolutely.
And how you are willing to represent what God is doing in India.
Sure.
Like Hanuman kind of says, I'm a rapper from India. You're like, I'm a missionary from India, So I want you to, share a bit of that.
Sure. Starting off with, I want to say that we are called to the nations.
Yep.
Right? We are called to the nations. I love the fact that, people like to put you in certain boxes.
Yeah.
You're from India, so you should be here to reach Indians. No, we are here to reach the nations.
Yeah.
Right? I think, we've grown up in that calling of I'm here to reach the nations, impact the nations. And in fact, one of the keys to that is I've been talking a lot about keys. It's the number 555, Isaiah 55 and verse 5. You will go to nations that you do not know of. Nations that do not know you will summon you or will call you. So I think we are called to reach the nations.
Yep.
Number one. Number two, there's never been a time to be an Indian in the global space.
Why do you say that?
I probably say we are in the most. So let me just talk about the income space in America. The Asians make the most amount of money.
Indian Americans are fairly successful.
Yeah, so Asians make the most amount of money in the Asian spectrum. Indians make the most amount of money. So there's more money being made and more tax dollars given to the government.
Yep.
Number two, look at all the CEOs, Fortune 500 companies.
Yep.
You get
That's
Google's
right.
and see, we are,
Microsoft.
Microsoft. You talk about, we are in probably the most influential places. We are a force
Yep.
that cannot be missed. So I think I'm glad that we are being put into the global map in such a time as this.
Yep.
That when we say something, people are now turning
Taking notice of-
taking notice of it. Third is that we're not called to be a stoop down Christian, right? In the whole realm of Indians represented overseas, they come with a very stoop down attitude because they're on the other side of the world to raise money.
Yeah.
They are positioning their projects. So till the airport, they were wearing jeans and stuff, and then they I know people who just change their whole attire just to appeal to people. And I've always believed that you represent, I mean, doors open for you. You position confidence. Confidence attracts confidence.
Yep.
Passion attracts passion. Doors open not because of what you wear, because of who you are.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a room, you walk in not because of power dressing. You walk in the confidence of God. So I've always believed that we walk in in the fullness of our confidence in who we are, and walk into places, and then God starts to open doors. I mean, that's been our mantra, if I can say
Yeah.
that right. Yes, sir.
So basically what you're saying is you stay true to your identity, the core of who you are. And I mean, you are unique and you have something to add to this world.
Yes.
And so there are many young people. I mean, I'm a young person, I'm learning. There are many young people listening. Sometimes we can see you and we can try to be you, right? And we can see many people, we can try to be those people. But then there's something that we can offer. And if we are really honest about that and we are not shy about it,
That's right.
I feel we can, do something better.
I would say, don't try to be like anybody else because everybody else is taken. Be you.
Yep.
From the time that you were born a conqueror. You were born with a clear identity, with a unique, fingerprint, retina print. There's something about, like, I'm married to a twin. I'm married to a twin. So, there. I mean, I just keep telling her that I got married. I mean, tell her sister that I got married to the better looking one. We have a joke running in the family. But even in twins, I can so clearly see the distinct
That's right.
features and character styles, and something so unique about that person. So, and especially living in this Gen Z world, they can smell fakeness from a
yeah.
mile away.
They can.
And I understand, and there's a lot about this false humility, and I think we came in from a generation of ministry. The last generation was all about all of those pieces. I think this generation can smell fakeness a mile away. I think we have to.
Yep. I think what this generation wants is genuine leaders.
Authentic.
Yep.
Be authentic.
We have these youth pastors trying to look cool, trying to dress like Gen Z. You gotta use the slang and gotta do all those things. The other day I saw a video. This was in probably in Spain. These Roman Catholic priests wearing the whole attire, right? And then there are some kids who are playing football out in the streets, and these two priests, young priests, they come and play football with them. They didn't even care about changing their outfit, or looking cool for them. For them, it's about connecting with the local people.
Sure.
Right? And now we have all these youth pastors who are trying to, look cool, act cool. And, it's not that, it's our heart that matters eventually.
Sure.
And that's what attracts young people, I feel.
Sure. I mean, you have to be, fashion is art on clothes.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I don't have a problem.
Nothing against that.
But looking good is good because you represent the king. I believe all that. But trying to put on something to, there's different viewpoints around it. But I get what you're trying to say. I think we need to be genuine. We need to be authentic. And somebody once told me, people like to follow a vulnerable leader than a perfect leader. So the more I'm vulnerable with my team. I mean, I had a team meeting yesterday, sit down and just talk about the flaws, the wins, the things that I could have made difference. I'm watching my sermon 3 times and to just say that how can I get it better? So I am just being transparent, and that makes me more attractive to them and more relatable to them than, put on that preacher voice and like praise the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just
That's
roll,
right, yeah.
just roll. I mean, and I think that's. I mean, we're on a mission, man. We're running out of time. We
Yeah.
gotta go. That's it.
Yep. So, I mean, this is the podcast summarized. I mean, I'm trying to match your energy. I mean, Stanley was, I had a video call with Stanley yesterday, and he was like, you got to wear a cap, you got to act cool, got to match the energy.
Yes, sir.
But this is who I am.
Come on.
Yeah,
Roll it
so one of my recent memories of you, 2018, 2019, I think ICMA Conference Delhi, Taj Dwaraka.
Yes.
We are out in the lobby having a conversation, and then you said, Nehemiah, you got to come to Delhi, man. You're gonna grow 10x. Come to Delhi. That's what I remember, and that's because you did it, right?
Yeah.
You took that risk. I want to talk a little bit of risk taking. What does a risk mean to you?
Sure.
How is faith involved in that? Especially for transition to take a big step. There are many people who have dreams, who know that they are supposed to do certain things. They're not, able to take that big risk.
Yeah.
Now, how have you seen that play out in your life?
Number one, I want to start off by saying, comfort zone is dead zone.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever grows in comfort zone.
Yep.
So if you're in a comfortable place, I think somebody once told me every leader has to self-sabotage his mission. It's almost like you got there, you burned the bridge. There's no way to go back.
Yep.
I mean, I felt that many times in different parts of my life that, we almost like we can go back. So I feel like you have to push yourself to be in the front line of things. You're moving out of comfortable places because you are, your comfort zone is dead zone. Number two,
Yep.
The big question I ask leaders is, what is your risk quotient?
Yep.
What is your risk quotient? Like, average people don't want to take risk. They like the comfortable places. So that's the piece about being an entrepreneur and being an employee. The employee is like, okay, give me 5 things that I need to do. I will do it, and you pay me for that. Most of my risks are mitigated, and I'm getting paid.
I get a stable salary.
Stable salary. So the lower the risk, the lower the return. I mean, probably one of the few things that I remember from economics is like, the higher the risk, higher the return.
Yeah.
And I think as leaders, we are called to take risk. And I think in some ways, risk is spelled like FAITH.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. You can do whatever you want, but without faith, it is impossible to please God. So if I need to please God, I need to walk by faith.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about all the coolest dudes in the Bible. Hebrews chapter 11, the Hall of Fame. Those are all people that operated in faith. They took a comfortable place. So, and one of the other pieces that you never say never to God, right?
Yeah.
So, 10 years before I ever moved to Delhi, I finished my 10th standard. I was invited to be on a mission trip, went to Delhi, 2.5 days in a Kerala Express train, roasted and toasted. I said, never again am I coming back to Delhi. And usually the Kerala mission route, as you know, is you live in Kerala. From here, we go to the Gulf. And from there, we move to a promised land, which is UK or the US and Europe and all that nice places.
As west as you can go.
Yeah. I mean, that's where. But the point is that, you have to. Somebody once told me, if you want to take India, you got to go to where the capital is. Or whoever ruled India the most were the ones who ruled Delhi.
Okay.
Different empires that that invaded India from different parts of the country, like the Portuguese, the Mughals controlled Delhi, and they had the longest reigning empire. Now, is it comfortable? Brother, I'll tell you something. Our housing situation, I'm paying like 3 times more than what I'm paying in Trivandrum. Some of my friends from Trivandrum came and saw my apartment. They're like, this is like a government apartment. I'm paying crazy amount of money. I don't have good parking. The pollution is high. The weather is extreme. It is, and the people are a whole different. I mean, people are nice out here. I mean, I'm just saying it's a whole different vibe.
Yep.
But I just knew that, and the move from Trivandrum to Delhi, moved the ministry from 3 cities to 196 cities in the next 10 years, because without faith, it is impossible to please God. And now I'm sitting in New Delhi, nice fancy office, like people are checking on you. Biryani, sir, what do you feel like eating for lunch? You want chai, you want this. I'm like, this is getting nice. This is all the tears, all the at the hard times that we've been through, and living in a third, fourth place, and living your office is in an attic place, and you're from there to a nicer place. I'm like, wait a minute, this is like the fruit of our labor. But on the other side, my brain's thinking, I'm getting comfortable here. Suddenly sense a thing, the vision from God to just move us to New York, the most influential, but also the most expensive
That's right. Yeah.
city. Like, rents are starting for $4,000+ a month. But but I just knew that without faith, it is impossible to please God.
Yeah.
So you have to be on the front line of risk. And I want to just highlight this scripture, Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 12. Another version says, it is the act of faith that distinguishes you from the rest. If you want to stand out, operate in faith.
Yep.
If you want to do something for God, you want to stand among the, differentiate yourself, the cream will rise to the top in the world of, in God's realm of the kingdom. Rising to the top involves faith and obedience,
Yeah.
which are married together.
Absolutely.
So I'm challenging leaders around, man. Whoever is watching this podcast, who am I looking to? The camera,
Right there.
that camera, man, guys. It's time. Comfort zone is dead zone. It is your time. Today is the day. Now is the time. Don't delay it. Procrastination is from the devil. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the day to obey. Today is the day to take a decision. Say, Lord, whatever you want me to do, wherever you want me to go, I'm ready. And if you're ready, man, watch what God is going to do through your life.
I believe somebody needed to hear that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're not just telling a story that we haven't lived.
Yeah.
This is the story of our life.
That's right.
We are constantly going through the grind. The numbers keep increasing, the zeros keep increasing, but it's a faith life. It is a life of faith. It's a life of believing God. And I'm thank God that we are all, you're still single, but I'm just trying to say, married up, and I look at your mom and dad, and what a great combination. Like, see, this is the one of the greatest. And for all the young people watching, watch who you get married to. Watch who you're even dating. I mean, you're thinking about getting a relationship. Please, the greatest tool that the devil uses, it's happened with me. The greatest tool that the devil uses to take you off the path, off your call, off your purpose, is a relationship.
That's right.
A workplace or something else is not a very emotional thing. But anything that is connected, you don't involve in a relationship. Number one, don't get unequally yoked.
Yep.
Number two, if you're supposed to be doing some great things, watch this combination, because it is a make or break combination. One will chase 1,000, two will chase 1,000. For all the young people, watch who you get married to. Watch who you are in, when you're thinking about relationship and who you want to get married to. This is the second most important decision of your life. The first one is your decision to follow Christ. Second is your decision to marry.
Yep.
Get it right. You don't have to be in a hurry. This is not the fast chain, But if you get this right, brother, you're on a whole different trajectory. I mean, we got into dating.
Single people are fiercely taking notes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit of your story of where God showed you post. What is it? Post
Zip
box
code,
number?
zip code
number,
1. Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit of that story. I found it inspiring.
Sure. So coming from Trivandrum, moved to Delhi. Then I'm hearing the whole story. And one day, for some reason, I started learning about. Of course, we all, one is an important piece. One is, one talks about influence. One, you can have a.
Yep.
But the zip code 1 in any British colony around the world is the most influential zip code in the world. So when we were thinking about where to have our headquarters in India, we were in Delhi, we were in Vasant Kunj, and so it was a great place. But we felt, where is the power, the seat of power?
Yep.
And it is in zip code number 1 in Delhi. So zip code number 1 has the parliament, the Supreme Court, everything that controls the largest, everything that controls the largest democracy in the world is in zip code number 1. So we prayed for many years, Lord, give us an office, because it is also the most expensive zip code to have an office space. So we prayed, and finally we were in zip code 1. The building is number 1, so we are there, we're praying, and we're seeing breakthroughs happen. And then I think about 10 years down our journey in New Delhi is when I feel an impression. Zip code number one. I'm like, Lord, Lord, what are you saying? I mean, we are in zip code number one. We are in Delhi, zip code number one, India, building number one.
Yep.
But I felt the Lord challenged me and says, it's not zip code number one, India, it's zip code number one, America.
Wow.
So if you go to London, there's zone number one, the Westminster Abbey, the Parliament, the Buckingham Palace, everything is in that particular zip code. So I was like, okay, fascinated, quickly Googled to find out that zip code number one is Midtown, New York. And then I was part of a global team called Movement.org, one of their catalysts. And one of the things is the founder, Mac P, used to say that if you take, it's like New York is the modern day Rome. If you take New York, you touch the world, because there's one of the most influential cities around the world, over 600 languages being spoken, finance, fashion, everything you talk about, media, arts, entertainment, all is locked up in the city. So I'm like, okay, this and all of this ambition is connected to the gospel.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh man, I want to go to New York, I want to be in Delhi. I want to position myself in a place that will amplify the message of the gospel. Where can I go? Because I know that influence is top bottom, right?
Yeah.
So it's flowing from the top. If you touch something on top, so we want to be in places. And also to push ourselves. There's no way, like going in from what I was paying in Delhi. Of course, I was paying a lot in Delhi. We're living in a nice place. From there to push ourselves and take my wife and my two kids, and then we make a plan to move to New York, and then we land there. That's a whole nother story. We land there, there's a pandemic.
Yep.
Right? We're running out of money, and I'm thinking I'm going to go there, cast vision, build team, all that. It's all done. My wife is pregnant. We haven't figured out insurance. I'm like, what have I done? I can't go back because people laid hands and prayed and released me. I can't go back. The airports are closed. The money is running out. We have 1 more month money left. And in this crisis, and I want to tell you something, don't waste a good crisis.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill says, don't waste a good crisis. So I was at the verge of, giving up. I thought, what's going to happen? In the middle of this, what do I do? What do you do when you're in crisis? The Bible says, do not be anxious about anything but
prayer and
pray.
thanksgiving. Yep.
So what I did was basically, I knew this key is to get on the ferry every single day from where I was living all the way to Wall Street, praying the scripture, praying in the Spirit. If you guys charismatic enough, listening to it. The Bible has given us a very hybrid language to pray. Yeah. You can pray in the understanding. Paul said, I pray in the understanding, I pray in the Spirit. But I like to pray in the Spirit more than I want to pray in the understanding, because I feel like in the understanding I get bored after some time. But when I'm praying in the Spirit, I'm praying in tongues, all those pieces, I am speaking a decoded language. It's bypassing my brain, and I'm beginning to pray what is on God's heart, and that is what is on my heart.
Yeah.
Intercession, somebody said, is praying what's on God's heart. So I began to sit on that ferry. Nobody's there. Everybody's wearing a mask. Nobody's traveling. Times Square is empty. I'm talking about this is the time at Times Square, the most busiest time. The square in the world is empty. There's nobody there. Sitting on the ferry and praying. Jeremiah 29 verse 6. Seek the peace of the city. When the city is blessed, you will be blessed. And while I was doing that, God gave me an idea of bringing the churches together in the middle of this crisis and producing a song of blessing of peace on the city. And the next thing I know is I say, Lord, every time God speaks to you, always feel overwhelmed. You feel like, Lord, are you kidding me? Like me, I'm a new guy in the city. It's pandemic. I don't know anybody. If I was in Delhi or India, I could have called. Most of these guys were on speed dial list. But I'm telling you, the next 2 weeks, the Lord brought over 100 churches. Crazy. A new guy from the block in India just moved to New York. And in the next 6 months, one of the most influential leaders in the city said, Bonny, you're my friend. I would have introduced you to a few people. But in less than 6 months of your time in New York, over 100 churches came together. And, and we were able to produce this project that went viral. Like greatest leaders in America. Franklin Graham endorses. Christianity Today, one of the most conservative and the most influential Christian media houses in the U.S., writes a global story about us. Every Christian media talks about it. People are blessed. I'm hearing, even now, I go to places where people talk about it. I saw that song and, oh, you're the one. It's still opening doors, because in the crushing, in the pain, in the middle of my wife, pregnant and not sure where we're going to have a baby, how we're going to have a baby, how we can go to the next season of her life. We obeyed, we stayed, we prayed, we stepped out in faith, and the rest of it is history. That door, just that small key just opened up a wide door.
The way I look at it is God taking you to one level and then taking you to another level. I'll explain it. Like, he didn't take you to New York directly from Trivandrum.
Yeah.
He first took you to Delhi.
Yes.
And then New York.
Yeah.
But
It's Trivandrum. Then the next city out of Trivandrum was Cochin.
oh, is it? Yeah.
From Cochin to Hyderabad.
Oh, is it?
That was the first city out of Kerala. And so you have to be faithful in the small things.
Yep.
Most people want to get to 10, but there's
And you might receive a prophecy of 10 while you're at 2.
oh yeah, of course.
And then you want to jump right into 10. I heard the other day, you don't just hop to another level. You grow to another level. And
Preach
there's
that preaches.
yeah, and so you got to grow into it, right? So I think it speaks to all young
Sure.
people here. Sometimes we get prophecies and even we can see visions where we see things that are like 30, 40 years down the lane. But being faithful in the moment and taking
Absolutely.
that step of faith, that's what I'm learning right now.
I tell people your private testings are going to become your public testimonies.
Yep.
There is no public testimonies without your private testing, right? When before that New York Blessing song went all over the world, was a testing where like we don't have money, and God is challenging, and somebody maybe needs to hear. There's not this thing, but every harvest that you want to see in life starts with the seed. And when I was about to produce a song, the producer said, "Hey, we don't know you. In fact, you have to pay the money up front." That was all the money that we had in the bank. But one thing I learned early in life is if what you have in your hand is not going to meet the need, it becomes a seed. So I can make it to the next month,
Yeah.
but I have an opportunity to sow a seed.
That's good.
And I know that one of my good friends says, God never gives seed to the hoarder, he gives seed to the sower.
Yep.
So God is always asking you, what do you have in your hand? So I was like, Lord, we're not going to make it to the next month. What's going to happen? But this is a project they want. So my wife and I, that's the point where you need to be united with your wife. A logically speaking wife would have said, what are you saying? We have to buy food. How are we going to get to the next month? But united in the spirit to say that we know that if what I have in my hand, and we sowed it, not sure what's going to happen next month, in obedience, in faith. And brother,
Yeah.
that seed
Yep.
just multiplied and keeps on multiplying even now. So I'm challenging young people listening, guys. You want to go there, but what do you have in your hand right now?
Yep.
Are you ready to obey, step out in faith, sow that seed? Boom. Boom,
And-
boom, boom.
And it's compound effect, right? It just multiplies and multiplies. I want to pivot a little bit here.
Yes, sir.
One of your goals in life, vision in life, especially with LiveJam, and I can actually share my first memory of LiveJam. I was just sharing with you.
Yes, sir.
I was 9 in school one day, and then I just hear an announcement saying, we have this program happening in the auditorium. Everybody queue up, line up. So we all line up and like, what is going to happen? And then we get in, and there's a band that's setting up, and then suddenly they just play some cool music, some rock and roll stuff, and I'm like,
Yes.
what's happening? And everyone's like, this is good. We've been sitting bored in class, and and then I suddenly realized I know some of these musicians because I've seen in common church events, and so then we hear the story and everything, and then we leave. While we're leaving, some of these musicians, they apparently knew me because of my dad. They're from Exodus,
Of course.
and they came and said hi, and then all my friends were like, how do they know you?
You became the cool kid.
I know, but it was cool for my friends. They're like, man, this music is cool. This is good. I love the way he shared. And we were 9, and that's your vision, right? So to take the gospel, the remaining 6 days, to take the gospel out into the schools, campuses. You've been doing amazing ministry in the US, in Bahamas recently. I saw some videos.
Yes.
And all those things. So there are people here watching. You might be in your school, in your college, in your workplace. You might not have shared the gospel yet, and you're not using your platform. And there could be church leaders who are also containing everybody in church, right? So many programs in church. We don't have time to go out and do things.
Yes.
And this has been your vision, and I
Yes.
want you to speak based on that.
Absolutely. Mark 16:15. Number one thing I understood is that I cannot take anything from this side of the world to the other side of the world. I like my shoes. I like my T-shirt. I like this church. I like my car. I like everything around here. I mean, we like things, but the fact is that at some point, I have to leave empty.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing that I can take from this part of the world to the other side of the world. It is people. And the Bible is so clear. Go, Mark 16:15. Go into all the world and preach the gospel. And preaching the gospel sounds like somebody has to get on a platform. It's actually about telling your story. What has God done in your life? And the word gospel starts off with the word go
Yeah.
and spell. You have to go.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the church is a holy huddle. I'm talking to a pastor here, but I'm just trying to say it's a place like we like to worship, we like lift our hands, we like to go to lunch together, we like a cell group, but the core idea of church was not about come. It has always been about go and tell and then come and see.
Yeah.
So I think I want to challenge people. You have to go share the gospel, and that is not the gift of the evangelist. The gift of the evangelist is to operate in the office and also train other people to share the gospel. But sharing the
That's
gospel is for everybody. You have, and somebody told me I think it's a comedy guy in Vegas. He said you should hate people so much for you not to tell them about Jesus.
Wow.
You should hate people so much that you don't want to tell them, because Jesus said, I am the way. I am the only way, the truth, and the life. And if you're not sharing that with people, you are robbing people of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
So, our mission has been to go. So, church is great. I love church. I grew up in church, and I'm here because of church. Great leaders in church invest into me. But I feel like we need to go. So, our mission has been to partner with the church to go to where the kids are. Now, listen, I like some big events. We fill some of the biggest stadiums around the country. We have done that. But when we fill those stadiums, we found that 80% of the people that come to our events are already Christians.
Yeah.
So, we spend all of this money, all of these bands being flown in from different places, big production, LED, this thing, that thing, all that, to entertain the church. And I love that idea, but I feel like, man, it's a better return on investment if I can flip the model idea upside down to go to where the kids are. So where are the kids? The kids are in schools. The kids are in colleges. So we went to where the kids are, used the things that they like. Use the felt needs. They love music. You're talking about a story. I met you somewhere I talked about it. So people don't remember what is the sermon or the points, but they remember the story. The testimonies stick so well. So we tell people. So I want to quickly use this podcast to just train people that are watching. How can I share the faith? It's a big piece that people ask. I just use one of my good mentors, Dr. Rice Brooks, developed this acronym called SALT. SALT. SALT starts with S. Start a conversation. So somebody was picking me up today. From my hotel to get to this podcast, I started a conversation. It's like, hey man, good to see you. What's your name? Starting a conversation. A is for asking questions. So you're like, it is not about you. It's about them. So tell me about you, Nehemiah. Like, what do you do? Okay, you're a pastor. I'm asking questions. You're single. Asking a lot of questions to understand what they're doing. L is for listening.
Yep.
Pastors, Christians, leaders, we all like to preach. We want to tell them, oh my God, time is up. Like, I have to tell them what I have. Listening is the most important piece. 80. That's why God has given you 2 ears and 1 mouth. And the last piece is T, is to tell you a story. I want to tell you a quick story about this. I was sitting on a plane between New York to Dallas, right? Early morning flight. I'm on a plane called Southwest Airlines. I got an exit row seat. If you know what exit row is the business class of economy. So you have stretch. I'm ready to stretch my legs, and I'm like having a great time. But I suddenly found that this young guy sitting next to me on the left, he's probably partying a little bit all night, and I can get that vibe. But then a beautiful girl, fully dressed, decked up, walks in with the Louis Vuitton bag and sits on my right. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I was thinking I was going to sleep. 5 o'clock plane. What I did was I started a conversation. Start a conversation
with both of them.
So this guy tells me he's a baseball player. She tells me she's a interior designer. Dad's involved in politics, lobbying, blah blah blah. And the flight takes off. The lights go off, and our light goes up. Our spotlight goes up. We became the noisiest bunch because I was starting a conversation. I was asking him questions. Then within the what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And the third piece is about listening. I'm just sitting down and listening. They're telling me now stories about the most intricate things about their life. The girl's telling about a sister. But there's they went through a divorce. The guy's talking about investments and blah blah blah. It's like a whole. I mean, they don't know me from Adam. They don't know each other from Adam. But I am listening. And before the flight lands, like in the last 30, 40 minutes, they're like, what about you? I was like, man, I've been waiting for that answer. Tell me. I end up telling my story, my testimony of how God changed my life. Nothing spiritual, nothing, no preaching. And one thing I did is before the flight landed, I held both these strangers, their hands together. Said, can I pray? And I prayed with them.
Wow.
Okay. 2 weeks later, I get a group text. These two strangers, they connected and they started dating. 6 months later, I get a call. And, it says, pray for me. I'm going to ask her to marry me. Finally, she says yes. She got engaged. They finally asked me to do the wedding. Crazy. So my whole family's flown in first class. We're going to this flash wedding. The who's and who's of Texas and in the U.S. are there. And I get to share the story at the wedding. Not a dry eye in the room. Everybody's moved. And this story, Nehemiah, goes viral all over the internet. CNN, CNBC, NBC. And finally, Southwest Airlines calls it the top 5 stories in 50 years of flying. And they said it's because of an Indian pastor who started a conversation.
That's crazy.
Asked questions, listened, and finally told the story. And the story of the gospel went boom. So what are you waiting for? Right? we need to use every opportunity that we have.
If you're single, get on a flight.
A lot of people have been asking, like, bro, please tell me. I've had radio hosts, like, who interviewed us on please let me know I'm single. Let me know when is the next trip.
What airline was this?
This was Southwest.
Point noted.
Come on. So I'm just saying, I mean, you never know. So I'm on a mission. I think we're all on a mission to make sure that we plunder hell and populate heaven. I mean, it's a very spiritual term. But get as many number of people to the other side of eternity that we need to tell them about the truth that we have experienced, the life, the gospel that has set our life free. And I care so much about young people. 70% of the people that come to know Jesus, they come to know Jesus between 4 to 14 years of age. 70%. If you're a businessman, that's where you would put all your money in. Like, Tim Cook from Apple is looking at his marketing thing. His iPad is the one that makes the most amount of money. He's going to put all his money in R&D on that product and make it so great because that's where he's going to make the most amount of money. And the church focuses less than 10% of their budget on young people. They want to put it on the families, make sure that they're good. The parking is good, the chai is good, the cake is good, and and the kids are given some crayons to just do whatever they want. The next generation, if there is your youth ministry is dead, your church is dead. So reaching young people, I'm on a mission. We're on a mission. That's why I'm here. I believe in Nehemiah. I believe in this young man. I believe in the call of God on your life, and I believe in the mandate on your life. That's why I'm here to. We're all having busy schedule, but it's an investment to partner with what God is doing in your life. To see, come on, let's get some more leaders fired up.
Honestly, it's an honor.
Yes, sir.
To have this conversation. I mean, we are at the end of
a conversation.
We've exceeded our time. I've had an amazing time.
Absolutely.
Last question to you. What is the mark that you want to leave in this world after your time is done? What is the legacy that you want to leave? How do you want Bonny Andrews to be known, at the end of your time?
That's a great question. I mean, it makes me feel, but I want to leave a legacy. I want a legacy of somebody that remembers about this fellow. He's a guy who lived on the edge of things. I mean, he was a risk taker, and he was an influencer. And I mean, the word influencer is overrated at this point. But I would say he was a risk taker, and he was all about Jesus, and he was, left a legacy of the gospel. So if people want to be thinking about me, this is the guy who never stopped preaching the gospel and inspiring people to live their full life. That's probably one of the things that I would want to leave back. And I'm telling you, we have to constantly be on this mission. The devil, people, ideas.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to take you off that mission. We stay on that lane. Stay on that lane. Don't get distracted. Stay on that lane. Whichever camera I'm looking at, stay on that lane. And at LiveJam, we say, live out loud. It's time to live our life loud. Not the gospel is not private truth. It is public truth.
Yeah.
Live our life so vibrant so that other people will come to know what you are carrying, and then they will follow Jesus.
I love how you have these bite-sized truths, in these words.
We try, brother. We try.
So, guys, you heard it from the one and only Bonny
sir.
Andrews.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to be here, and we're on a mission. We're on a mission together.
Yep.
Anyway, we can work together. And I'm telling you, looking at young people, we're on a mission. Let's change the world.
Yep.
Live out loud.
First mission of the day is done. The next mission is dosha and idli.
Yes.
Let's have good breakfast.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So thank you for joining. If you were impacted by this episode, we would love to hear how this conversation has had an impact on your life. Leave a comment below. Leave a review on Spotify, whichever platform that you joining us from. So I pray that you have a blessed time in India. Have a safe travel back.
Thank you. Namaste, Vanakkam. God bless. Peace.
See you guys.